Let's get right into it. Monique's son Shalom goes off on his mom. I'll be reacting to it, giving some advice.
Hi, I am Shalon. I am a stand-up comedian, Monique's oldest son. I guess I felt the need to make this video to just provide some context into this false narrative about her praying to the universe in order to reconcile our relationship or whatever the hell it is. I wrote it all down so that way I don't go all over the place and get emotional or anything like that. So I'm gonna talk like I'm reading a script, but it's just gonna help me kind of stay together. But to address the Club Shay interview that she did, where she states that she prays to the universe in regards to reconciling our relationship, as I stated, is odd. My mother and I both know that that is a very false narrative, and I would like to free her of having to continue telling that lie. Faith without work is dead, and neither one of us cares to put forth any effort to reconcile with the other.
Ooh, that's powerful. Faith without works is dead. It's basically saying, I don't want to put no effort into it. You could be praying and doing that, but if you're not putting any work towards it, Monique, it's dead. This relationship's dead. Let's keep going.
We are separate, as she put it, because she doesn't care to be my mother any more than I care to be her son. Neither one of us has had the desire to reach out to the other in a very long time, and I don't think that either of us anticipates that feeling ever returning. Speaking with my mother directly, in my experience, will either lead to some odd newfound moment of clarity in regards to how she was as my mother, or she retreats back to daddy to move forward with a conversation. And I'm tired of hearing my mother's truths. Newsflash, I'm not sure if people know, but standing in your truth doesn't make you noble. I'm not sure if people are aware of that. But responding this way, I feel as though it allows me to say my piece uninterrupted.
You could just feel the energy, like, towards this. He has a disdain towards his mother.
To those wondering, well, why say something now? Call it a form of therapy for me, I suppose. But when her daddy had intentionally stated that they have 3 sons, but his wife is on the internet talking about the 4th son in a video that has millions of views, that rubbed me the wrong way.
I gotta say this. He keeps referring to Monique's husband as daddy. Some shade there. But you guys, by the way, like, subscribe, follow the page. Irrational Ones, do parent consulting, also parent coaching, also work with kids, doing behavior interventions, behavior management. Doing it for like 12-15 years. So the links below if you need any consultation or some help with your kids or some parent coaching. And you guys, these are my opinions based off my experiences. The last videos I done with Gary Owens, and I'll link them. Gary Owens, Corey Holcomb, everybody's in the comments going crazy. Relax. It's my channel. Relax.
But anyway, to inform a child that you are not interested in being a mother at a time when that kid is the only kid that has the potential to lead a child to believe that you are not interested in them specifically. But to take it a step further, you also admit, my mother had also admitted to me that she didn't do the best job that she could do, which would also make one begin to question, all of your past decisions and prior emotional interactions. But to be completely honest and fair, those were things that I was willing to get over. Nobody's perfect, we're all human. But my mother showed a clear lack of humility, compassion, and consideration when taking any level of accountability for those things.
So he says a mouthful in this aspect that his mom did come to him and apologize for these things, but she didn't really show her her actions with accountability. So I always stress the parents, you can say whatever you want to your child, whatever. But if they don't see it or put it into action or see that you're able to take accountability, it's just they're gonna lose respect for you. Soon, I think the problem with parents is they feel like parents hear me roar, and at the end of the day, the kids get older and then they start. Obviously, they should always respect you as your mother and father, but they start seeing you who you are as a person. And when that starts happening, and your words don't match your actions, you got a big problem.
My mother does a fantastic job of acknowledging a lot of things, but she doesn't take accountability very well, and anything that she may take true accountability for, it's only at her convenience, in my experience. But if I had to guess, though, her interest in being a mother probably started around the time that she married her daddy and had his children. But that interest, obviously seemed one-sided, and as it should have been. By that time, I'm in my late teens, so to some degree, the the neglect becomes easier to hide or validate, I guess you could say. There are now 2 baby boys in the house, that require attention. But still, during that time, however, I still watched her enjoy the love and admiration of total strangers more than my own. To this very day, my mother has never expressed to me when, if ever, she became interested in me as her son. That did lead me down a path of questioning my self-worth and struggling to understand the value of a mother in a child's life. In the interview, she also states that she gave me an apology, but an apology to a son from a mother that consciously showed no interest in him holds no weight.
It goes back to what I just said about your words have to match your actions. He's holding on to that. And by the way, there might be some noise in the background. I'll try to mute that later.
There are still women to this day that my mother will give credit to for being more of a mother to me than she ever could. Her assistant, my cousin, being one of them. Every time, though, that my mother would state that she would...
I have to say this. Monique, it must be hurtful to see your child go on social media and say these things, but Monique also goes on social media and talks about Oprah, Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart on interviews, things of that nature. So you dish it out, you got to be able to take it.
Was right here whenever I was ready. That ideology still blows my mind today, that a person could openly admit to being an uninterested, not put my best foot forward type of parent and be so self-centered that they still express to the kid, you have to come to me when you're ready. You got to come to me for us to make this right. Okay.
In that aspect, she's probably thinking, Monique's probably thinking, I did everything I possibly can. I apologize. I did this, and that, and it's still not good enough. You need to be able to move past that and come see me. When you accept someone's mistakes, faults, the apology is not for them, it's for you when you make acceptance to it. So I do see that point. He seems he has like a lot of hurt. So she's like, hey, when you're ready. But he's also going by your action hasn't matched your words yet. So that's where the conflict lies. Oops. Let me get back to that.
Could possibly think that she has shown me in the past or have for me now that's not money, goodness gracious, that would make me want to come to her or whatever those feelings were supposed to be. A mother is supposed to be the first woman that a boy falls in love with. I loved my mother very much, but my mother loved things more than she loved me, and she would validate her love for me by giving me things and would proceed to call me ungrateful or inconsiderate if said things did not have the desired effect. I couldn't imagine what it's like to be her, though, to ask God for what you want, and then he gives you what you need, though, only for you to ignore it and have the audacity to ask God for something else. And I'm glad I don't. I'm glad I didn't do that. And when he told you no, you went to the universe instead. By no means, though, do I want to give off any type of an impression that I am a victim of anything. It's not the case. As you can see, I'm smiling from ear to ear. I'm alive. I'm happy. I'm a dad.
You can say that, but what your actions are showing, you might probably need to get it off this chest, but there's a lot of hurt there. A lot of hurt.
I'm healthy, I think. I drink a lot of water. I'm getting over a cold now. I still have my days just like everybody else. And, there were a few things that she did teach me along the way. I did learn how not to love from my mother. I also learned to make sure that I never lose so much of who I am that I have to validate it through another person. And though I feel as though, in hindsight, I think she did it reluctantly, I do appreciate my mother, for showing me what the top of the mountain looks like. You know what I'm saying? It did give me perspective on what hard work and dedication can get you, but I don't want something like that at the cost of giving up something that I created. I don't want it that bad. And speaking of creations, I genuinely, truly, I really did want my mother to have a relationship with my daughter. I even fought through those intrusive thoughts that were, if she wasn't interested in you, what makes you think she's going to be interested in your kid? But it took my mother no time at all to prove that those intrusive thoughts were correct. But what I can say, good for her, the universe did, bless her with three other sons. And God willing.
And that's where you could tell the hurt is he keeps mentioning his brothers, his half brothers, whatever way you want to say it, that she has three other sons and not including him. So that's where the resentment comes from. It's like, hey, you're getting all the success, you're doing all this X, Y, and Z, you moved on and you've forgotten about me, you left me behind.
I'm sure that all three of them are adults now. So I'm sure that one of them, God willing, if not all three of them, will make her the grandmother that she wants to be. I still look forward, to that moment for her. But overall, when it comes to the boys though, I am happy that whenever they do hear me talk, sorry, my phone did something weird, but whenever they hear me talk, they don't know what it is. They can't relate to what it is that I'm saying. My experience with my mother is not their experience.
And again, that's where he holds this anger towards his mother is you treated these three kids this way, but you treated me this way. And I can vouch for this. You could raise, because I was raised with seven siblings in one home, and we all have different personalities, we all have different perspectives, we all, what's the point that we get older, have our own relationship with my mother. And some of them have their relationship that says X, Y, and Z with my mom. Some have this. I have my own perspective. And parents have to realize, just because you raise kids under the same household, they're going to have their own thoughts, their own perspective, their own personalities, everything like that it might not all be the same. So you could be like, yo, you guys all were raised in the same household, how come this one turned out that way? That's the wrong mentality to have.
Our mother. So my prayer for her and them is that they continue to see her the way that they see her now. I do also want to make sure that I say thank you to my mother for giving me life. Without that moment in time, I wouldn't have had my little one. But outside of that moment, there isn't anything that either of us has to offer the other. In my opinion, it's a waste of God's time and the universe's time for praying for something that you are not willing to put forth any effort to obtain. Putting the work into becoming Monique is more important to my mother than being my mother. And I do not believe that it was never about her being there and waiting for me, but it was supposed to be about me being there and waiting for her. My mother's value had reached such a low point in my life that I no longer found it necessary to either want to wait for her or even go to her. But like I said, man, I'm super grateful that she has the opportunity to do it all over again. I'm happy for her. I hope the Cat Williams tour goes well, but the narrative that she prays for us to reconcile is a false narrative. It's not real, and I'd appreciate it if she stopped saying stuff like that.
All right, so just to wrap it up, just a lot of hurt and a lot of anger that he has towards his mom, Monique. He doesn't care that she's famous or anything. All he wants is a mother that loves him. He wants someone who could be a grandmother to his daughter. And until that happens, he doesn't want anything to do with you. And he doesn't want these narratives out there, things of that nature. I would say this is that the energy we put into other things, I I really believe God blesses you with those kids. Doesn't matter how old they are. They're your responsibility. You're supposed to be a person in their lives that they could look up to and they could come to and things of that nature, good, bad, or indifferent. They didn't ask to be here. Go mend that relationship. Like, obviously it takes two to tango. So if he doesn't want to tango, you do all the best you can, but you have to try to mend that relationship, because when God gives you the kids, it's your responsibility to try to be the best you can. And no one's perfect. Maybe she's a young mom, they were a young couple, but you can always make it and mend those relationships. All you guys, like, subscribe. Again, hit the link below for any type of parent coaching, any work with kids. I use video game therapy to speak to kids, to interact with them, to get to their level, and we can go from there. I'm out.